Good evening, you're watching Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. Once again, the joke's on us. Stand-up comedian Veer Das was supposed to have a show in Bangalore today, but the organisers were forced to cancel it after a right-wing group protested and said that he hurts Hindu sentiments and presents India in a bad light. A short while ago, Veer Das released this video.
This video is probably never going to make it on the internet ever. So basically what happens is a lot of times when a comedy show gets, shut down, or, stuff happens, it's because people make assumptions about what happens at the show. And nobody ever checks with the audience what happened at the show. So, this is an audience that has just seen a show. Alright, now, I just want to clarify, you can say yes or no together and you listen. I have not paid anybody to do this. None of these people are under the influence of anything. None of these people are terrorists. None of these people are Pakistani agents. Pakistan can't even afford this many agents. If you're a woman, please make some noise. If you're a man, please make some noise. Did we target any specific religion here tonight? No! Did we target any specific government or leader here tonight? No! Did this show defame India or make you feel ashamed to be an Indian? No! Did this show make you proud to be an Indian? Yes!
So Veer Das was actually anticipating that one of his shows could get cancelled, which is why he actually recorded that video in an earlier show that he had done and then released it tonight after news of the cancellation came in. And why did he anticipate that this could happen to him? Because last year he faced a huge backlash from right-wing social media handles in particular over his viral To India's monologue in the United States, in which he had talked about, amongst other things, the gang rape in Delhi, the farmers' protests which were on at the time, as well as pollution. And he was accused then of defaming India and of being anti-Hindu for some reason. Now, this isn't the first time in recent years that comedians have found themselves at the receiving end of censorship. Remember Munawar Farooqi, the comedian who was arrested even before he cracked a joke. Well, let's go across to our panelists tonight, and I'd like to go across first to comedian and comic Sanjay Rajoura, who joins us. Sanjay Rajoura, your thoughts today on this cancellation of Veer Das's show? In some sense, does it even surprise you?
No, nothing that happens in India right now surprises me, and I think one word that describes this action is gundagardi. And I just wonder, who are these people who are scared of laughing? I mean, if this continues, the only option we have to laugh is to go to those सुबह मॉर्निंग वॉक करने पार्क में जाकर जो लाफ्टर क्लब्स बने होते हैं जहाँ पे वो खामखा जोर से लोग हंस रहे होते हैं. That is the only option that remains with us. Now the thing is, who is defaming India? So India is a country where you are not allowed to laugh, make a joke, buy a ticket, or do have a nice time with friends or family. And I don't understand what are these sentiments that get hurt at the drop of a hat. कुछ भी होता है, हिंदू sentiment hurt हो जाता है. और ये लोग जिनके hurt हो रहे हैं, these are the people who never go and watch what is being said. I mean, people, if they want betterment of their country, if they love their country so much, if they want a better version of their country, then we have to look at what little is wrong or what क्या ठीक किया जा सकता है. Otherwise, you to blindly. How can you just say that anybody? If I criticize anything about my country, if I then it is defaming the country. If it is hurting Hindu sentiments. First of all, India is not just a Hindu country. There are all kinds of religions that जो इस country में रह रहे हैं, उनके sentiments तो hurt हो नहीं रहे. Either you come up with an idea and decide say कि भाई now we are a Hindu country, but not yet ना, अभी तो नहीं हुआ है ना वो. तो ये Hindu sentiments किसके hurt हो रहे हैं? Please bring these people on table and let's talk to them. What is these people are probably depressed or they have a certain trauma they're holding against authority or something, or they are not being seen, their voice is not being heard, or they want their 2 minutes of fame, or I don't know. It could be an amalgamation of a lot of psychological issue. Veer Das is an important voice in India. You know, in spite of his privilege, wherever he comes from, whenever he talks, he makes sense. He makes more sense than your local political leader. And you are now, this Gunda group is now coming and saying, we won't allow we to speak, or the likes of we to speak, but we will go out and celebrate these politicians जो कुछ भी बोल रहे हैं आके यार. And I don't know, next what? Now they will ban music because music is defaming India. Then they will ban like particular kinds of clothes because they are defaming India. Then they will ban your long drives because long drives are defaming India because people expose के टोल पे कितनी लूट हो रही है या हाईवेज में कितने गड्ढे बने हुए हैं या कहाँ पे कौन सी सड़क घुस गई है. What then? So are we what? क्या are we? This is Afghanistan 2.0. What we used to take pride in India, we used to take freedom of expression की जो यहाँ पे छूट थी, we used to be very proud of it in spite of whatever happened in this country, in spite of all the conflicts, all the fault lines, all the divisions in this country. India was something that whenever I used to go abroad, I used to feel proud of India, and people बाहर के लोग बोलते थे really India is great. Now what are we doing? So गुंडागर्दी define करें what is India? And I'm sorry, I will not bow down to this gundagardi.
Very well spoken, Sanjay Rajora. Very well spoken. I mean, I don't think anyone could have put it better than you have. And I think that's why Veer Das put out that video where, you know, he got the audience to react. I mean, he just asked them, have we said anything against any religion here? They shouted no. Any government? I mean, you should be allowed to make jokes about the government, but we are living in such times where even that is considered anti-national. Shyam Rangila is also with us. And Shyam Rangila is a viral sensation, of course, as a comedian, and his videos are, you know, a sensation as well. Shyam Rangila, what do you think of this development in Bangalore? Are you not worried as an artist, as a comedian, कि ये बार-बार हो रहा है? ये तो अब normalize हो गया है in a way.
जी बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहे हैं. बहुत दुख की बात है हमारे लिए, आर्टिस्ट के लिए और पूरे देश के लिए. मैं तो समझता हूँ कि बहुत दुख की बात है. जैसा कि संजय भाई ने कहा कि अगर रैली हो रही है, नेता वहां पे कुछ भी हेट स्पीच दे देते हैं, अगली रैली में जाके और ज्यादा भीड़ आती है, फ्री में लोग आते हैं, फ्री में लेके आते हैं लोगों को सुनने के लिए. हेट स्पीच सुनो, आप ये इनकी बातें सुनो, उनको फिर टीवी पे फैलाया जाता है, सोशल मीडिया पे फैलाया जाता है. अब वो जो कॉमेडियन भाई वीर दास जी हैं वो शो कर रहे हैं, पैसे ले रहे हैं, लोग पैसे दे के देखना चाह रहे हैं, लोग हजारों रुपए की टिकट लेके देखना चाह रहे हैं. इंटरेस्टेड है लोग, सब देखना चाह रहे हैं. आप उस चीज में अगर इंटरेस्टेड नहीं हो, आपको नहीं देखना, आपको नहीं जम रही है बात, तो आप मत जाइए शो के अंदर. लेकिन ये कहाँ की बात है कि आप शो को कैंसिल करवा देते हो. मुनव्वर फारूकी के शो को कैंसिल करवा दिया, कामरा भाई का शो था उसको कैंसिल करवा दिया. ये कहाँ तक जाएगा मुझे नहीं समझ में आ रहा है. पता नहीं क्या हो रहा है. और
इसकी श्याम भाई बिल्कुल सॉरी श्याम भाई मैं इंटरप्ट कर रहा हूँ. आपने बिल्कुल सही बात बोली. इसकी अपर लिमिट क्या है, मतलब कहाँ पे जाके ये विभत्सी बोलूंगा मैं इसको, ये जो वाहियात बना है ये कहाँ पे जाके रुकेगा. और हम लोग ये अलाउ करें कि हमारे देश की जो एक इमेज है, हमारे देश की जो एक टॉलरेंट सोसाइटी की एक प्रोग्रेसिव डेमोक्रेसी की जो इमेज है, उसको हम हाईजैक करने दे रहे हैं, मतलब गुंडों के हाथों में. और हम बोलने भी नहीं देंगे. और ये कि अभी जैसे निधि ने बोला कि गवर्नमेंट को क्रिटिसाइज करोगे एंटी नेशनल हो जाता है. हमारी बेइज्जती इस बात में हो रही है बाहर यार, हमारी बेइज्जती. इंडिया इज बीइंग डिफेम्ड बिकॉज व्हेनेवर वी गो आउट, पीपल लाफ एट अस कि व्हाट अ बंच ऑफ जोकर्स यू आर. What a bunch of jokers you are. 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 You cannot criticize the
बिल्कुल ठीक
government.
बात है, अगर कोई
Well,
कोई बाहर जाके
like I said,
किसी
we
से
are
कह
arresting
देता है,
people even before they make a joke. So yes, I mean, you have to ask what is actually defaming India. Is it what our comedians are doing, or what we are doing to them? Deepak Sani is a stand-up comedian. In fact, he was one of the youngest participants in the Great Indian Laughter Challenge. Deepak, आपके क्या views हैं इस पे? Unfortunately, we have a problem with Deepak Saini's audio. I apologize. We'll try and get back to him in just a moment. Actor and activist Kasturi Shankar is with us. Kasturi Shankar, you've just heard, both Shyam Rangila and Sanjay Rajora very strongly make their point on this. Was this justified for, a right-wing group to go and pressurize the organizers in this way to cancel a show?
No. I think freedom of expression should be sacrosanct. And while content creators can be sensitive to what's going on around them, I think Veer Das is being punished for a perceived sin that he committed earlier in his career. I think the Two Indias show is what started a snowball of consequences for him. So he can be aware and sensitive of it in his specific case. But I have to remind people that Veer Das is not the first nor the last in a long list of people who have been picked on, who have been the center, the cynosure of outrage on both sides. It's not just Hindu right-wing groups. It has been Islamic groups. Our Tamil Nadu's very own Kamal Hassan, he made a movie called Vishwarupam, and ironically, Vishwarupam was banned in Tamil Nadu because Muslim groups protested against it. There was nothing in it that was defamatory to Indian Muslims at all. But, people were hurt, and it was banned in Tamil Nadu. And ironically, people had to drive all the way to Bangalore to watch it, because Bangalore was considered progressive enough to screen that movie. And today, we're watching the exact reverse of that, where in Bengaluru, Veer Das cannot perform. So it's really, I can think of so many examples. Remember in 1991 when India-Pakistan match was completely sabotaged in Mumbai with the auspices of the then ruling government, with the Shiv Sena's Ashirwad.
I remember that, and then I remember the standing ovation in Chennai. But you're right. You expect better. Karuna Nandi is with us, advocate of the Supreme Court. Karuna Nandi, Bangalore, this is our IT capital. This is, one of the big cities that we tell the rest of the world is, is the big IT hub of India, big modern city, vibrant, nightlife, vibrant culture. And this is what is happening in Bangalore. So is the joke on us?
I think that Bengaluru has always had the Kannada nationalist side as well as the Hindu fundamentalist side in tension sometimes and in confluence sometimes with the modern IT hub. And that, I think, is true in many large parts of India. I think the question is a little bit different, which is that to what extent are our thoughts going to be controlled? They are already controlled to a significant extent with the takeover of most large media entities, with what can be said, what can't be said, even through satire, even by comedians. And comedians are now, to a very significant extent, the front line of political speech in terms of what people are saying, because the news organizations, to a significant extent, have already been taken over or are being taken over as we speak. So where does this leave us? When I represented AIB, for example, and over a 48-hour period, there were FIRs filed in many, many parts of the country. What's happening, what happened then to AIB, what's happened to other speakers that I have represented, and what's happening now to Veer Das, is the heckler is being given priority.
Yeah.
While we still have the rule of law, we must acknowledge that the heckler's veto is something that our courts, our constitutional courts, have explicitly said cannot rule. That if there is a heckler like this organization that wants its 10 minutes of fame and talking absolute nonsense in its complaint. If you actually read the complaint, what it says is that Vijay said something about how we quote that we worship women in India by day and then we rape them by night. We worship them by day as goddesses and then at night women are raped in India. It says it's outraging the modesty of women. It's defaming India, which isn't really a thing. That's not a criminal offense. How it's outraging the modesty of women, God alone knows. But then they say that in a communally charged area like Bangalore, that this is a dangerous thing to say, says the purported Hindutva group. Now, anyone can say that they are Hindus and they are, looking out for the country.
I'm glad you used the word purported.
Their name on splash, their name everywhere. But there, it is a clear threat, right? Because what he said, what was quoted earlier, had absolutely nothing to do with any religion. What they are saying is that we will create a communal problem if you don't shut him down. And so what's happening here is that these completely random hecklers with no power are then getting lots of power.
And legitimacy.
Because the police has not stood up and said, we are going to shut you down and we are going to protect the speaker, which is precisely what is their constitutional duty to do.
Let me get Mr. PKD Nambiar in here, because Mr. Nambiar is a sympathizer of the BJP. And Mr. Nambiar, despite being a sympathizer of the BJP, do you think that, authorities need to do more to stand up to these fringe groups and say no? Or is this no longer the fringe?
Oh, well, I may be a lone voice in this entire panelist who may have a little difference of opinion. I am for the freedom of speech, but there is nothing called as an absolute freedom of expression. If you really remember that in the first constitutional amendment which has taken place in this country was on curbing on the freedom of speech. So the first is that particular part. Then coming to the comedy. I'm a great fan of comedy shows. I watch quite a lot of them. I'm not that typical Hindu fringe element which you can brand. I run a technology company and a Marcom agency, which is a very progressive and professional business. So don't put me into that group that I'm going to say blindly that in a way that, oh, it's all happening is very good. Definitely no. But then where is another question? All this creative freedom, creative expression, whichever have been talked about by all these panelists, do they have the slightest of courage to criticize any other religion on their comedy show other than Hindu god or Hindu goddess or Hindu religion?
Mr. Speaker,
may I, excuse me, everybody in this show was talking
Okay, first let Mr. Nambiar.
This narrative has been falsely propagated for very long that kisi aur religion
it is your show. I will not comment on it.
I am a testimony here. I myself have made fun of all the religions.
People, they cannot listen to the other voice.
Okay, one second. Mr. Nambiar, finish your point, but I want to interrupt and say, can you point out to me one comment, statement or joke by Veer Das where he made fun of Hindus? Can you name one statement?
Quite a lot of them.
Like?
Quite a lot of them.
Which one?
And I think you just need to open up and see that quite a lot of them. I may not be able to give you off the hand that it may not be.
No, but you can't just say that it's there.
I think you have a comedian. I think he's not on a comedy show. I think you don't get any more stage shows to laugh at on a national television debate, I guess. One thing I can only tell you one thing. Yesterday on a television channel debate with Kasturi ji and me, we were talking about the creative freedom and freedom of expression of the Kerala Diary, which the movie which was just with the teaser was released. Everybody was having a problem with that. It is not factually correct. I only said that it is not a documentary. It is a movie. It may be a creative expression of another people. But we have so many words to criticize that particular teaser of 90 seconds or 79 seconds. But today, if the government of Karnataka or the authorities, police authorities do so, if this particular show might create a law and order issue at that particular place, and Veer Das is not a person who has been so many FIRs been already filed against him in various places, not only one state, in multiple states.
And we know that FIRs are used as a tool of harassment in this country. Anybody can go and file them, and then you harass somebody. Come on, Mr. Nambiar, you can say that law and order based on what? What has Veer Das ever said in any of his shows that would create a law and order problem? Please point that out.
I think there are, as I said that before coming to your show, I was just looking at the details. There are so many FIRs being registered
that doesn't mean anything. You can register an FIR against anyone to harass them in different states. It doesn't mean anything.
I think so. Can I say you that if it is only in the states which are ruled by the BJP government, I can understand what you are saying may be correct.
So it's okay for Bangalore to do this because he has an FIR in Timbuktu.
My dear friend, that is precisely I said the authorities at that particular place feels that it is more important than to conduct this show than maintaining a law and order at that particular. That is not you.
You're taking a law and order argument. Sanjay Rajora wants.
If there is a problem,
Sanjay Rajora.
I want to ask Mr. Technology here that. When Anurag Thakur went on stage and said, "Desh ke gaddaron ko goli maro salon ko," why was there no FIR? Was it not a law and order? Was it not a call for violence?
Now the comedian is now suddenly becoming political. This is where the problem is. The comedian has got an agenda rather than just a professional comedian. You have a political agenda. That is where you get stuck. Mr. Comedian, your problem is that you have an agenda, you have an anti-Hindu, anti-India mindset, you have all the reasons to say...
How is he anti-Hindu and anti-India?
One second,
let's not toss, please, can I make a request? Can we not toss these labels around?
I talked about prophet also. I may be a comedian and I may have an agenda and you, aapke to shakal pe likha hua hai comedy ho yaar. I have made fun of Prophet. I have made fun of Islam. I have made fun of Christianity.
This fee you can pay to you can send your the ticket fee to Nidhi. I think you don't require to be personal.
Look, this is not a personal. This is not a personal battle. It's not a personal battle. The point is, Sanjay Rajora, that comedians all over the world, they make fun of governments.
One simple thing, Nidhi, there is a White House dinner where the comedian goes and makes fun of the President of United States. Is he defaming US? Is he defaming?
In fact, that's a tradition.
Yeah.
The roast for the outgoing president is a tradition there.
And can we do it in India?
No,
we can't even roast.
Karuna Nandi made a very important point that in the complaint they have said that this is outraging the modesty of a woman. Now I want to ask very simple thing: when the rapists of Bilkis Bano were released, was it not outraging the modesty of a woman? Was it not? Was it not defaming India? दुनिया भर में ट्रैवल एडवाइजरीज जारी होती है कि इंडिया इज नॉट सेफ फॉर विमेन. इज इट नॉट डिफेमिंग इंडिया? What are you talking about?
Which newspaper do you read? I don't know which newspaper do you read. We don't know. I think Nidhi, this is too much to be a panel like this, that wherein somebody feels that everything in this country happens is all bad.
He's not saying that. He's not saying that. He's saying that.
Look at the intellect of this guy.
Look at this guy and his arrogance. That this is also, he is talking in a national television.
Sanjay, 1 second. Mr. Nambiar, he's not saying... This is the
heckler who's getting power.
He's not saying that. He's not saying everything is wrong with this country. I think that the point is that those who say that a comedy show is defaming India, ironically, are not saying that things like what he mentioned, like the release of Bilkis rapist or the Delhi gang rape, that is what defames us. In our own eyes, more than the eyes of the world, as Indians.
Now look at this, 5 people, we had 6 people on this panel. All the 5 people were talking, I did not even utter a single word. The moment I opened my mouth, everybody started screaming or otherwise putting up a question on me. But this is happening on a national television. This is the power of democracy. And now you are saying a comedian cannot speak. The so-called comedian is arguing, shouting and screaming. He has got all that power in the... See, now I am talking, he is speaking.
All these people, anyone lodge an FIR against you?
Actually, I do agree with you in parts. And I think I pointed out that it's on both sides of the spectrum. It's not, outrage is not reserved for just Veer Das hurting Hindu sentiments. Outrage is also expressed by minority
Of
groups,
course.
Muslims, Christians, against other things.
Absolutely,
Kerala
because
is an
everybody
example.
everywhere is
So-
outraged all the time. You're absolutely right.
all the
It's
time.
not, it's
The
not
question
confined.
is, what
Yeah.
did this person do to deserve it? And
Yeah.
it's obvious that whichever state has a policy that they like everywhere. The Kerala story is now even the trailer, a 1-minute teaser trailer has
caused
been
offense.
slapped with FIR. So it's a question of what the state policy is. It's obvious that the communists have a policy, and it's obvious that the BJP has a policy, and that's what we are seeing in action. At the end of the day, this is not about the people anymore. This is not about democracy or the audience anymore. It has become a very political game. Comedy has become a political show. Veer Das
Absolutely.
is a political
Absolutely.
You're
example.
right, actually.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But let me ask Sham Rangila the last question, because he was sitting very quietly there. Sham Rangila, as a result of all of this, do you find yourself censoring yourself as a comedian? क्या आप 2 बार 3 बार सोचते हो एक वीडियो बनाने से पहले कि क्या मुझे ये बोलना चाहिए?
जी बिल्कुल, जब मेरा टीवी चैनल पे जो टेलीकास्ट नहीं हुआ था उसके बाद मैं सोचना बंद कर दिया मैंने। मैं तो यूट्यूब पे करता हूँ, और अभी ऐसी कोई नौबत नहीं है, जैसे मैंने लाइव शूट किए भी नहीं है, तो हो सकता है जब मैं करूँ तो मेरे भी कैंसिल हो जाए। लेकिन जब मैं यूट्यूब पे करता हूँ तो मैं कुछ भी सेंसर नहीं करता हूँ, सोचता जरूर हूँ कि इस पे लोगों का रिएक्शन क्या होगा। और जैसा कि सर ने कहा कि यही डेमोक्रेसी है कि हम 5-6 लोग मिलकर इस बात पे बात कर रहे हैं, तो सर मैं आपसे ये कहना चाहूंगा वो भी यहीं तक बची है। वो एक चैनल जो बात कर रहा है, इसके लिए मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करना चाहूंगा NDTV का, ये भी यहीं तक बची है। बाकी हमें किसी चैनल ने इन्वाइट नहीं किया है, या मुझे लग रहा है कोई और इस पे बात नहीं करने वाला है।
Have to leave it at that tonight. I hope that
One
we
last
can just.
point, Nidhi, one
yes,
last point,
I just
one
have
last point,
10
Nidhi.
seconds. 10 seconds. Sanjay.
Yeah. So very well important. All 5 of us were arguing with the gentleman over here, but none of us is going out and filing an FIR against him. We are debating here, and that's how it should work.
All right.
That's because
Let's
we're
all.
not the state.
Let us.
We don't have the power to. I guess if you did, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Let us agree to disagree.
FIR
And
तो कोई भी डाल दे।
I hope all of you can go back and have a laugh at something today.
I'll watch
It's
some
worth it.
better comedy show.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much to all of you for joining us. Thank you.